Alright, so here I have my shed from part 1, and now I'm moving on to part 2. The first thing in part 2 is I want to be able to modify my wall type. So I'm going to change from this brick siding to a nice horizontal siding wall. So when I click on the wall, like we did before, it goes transparent. And when I go click on my pull down arrow, I have all these options, but there's no siding options, if you notice. So I need to create one. So I'm going to say edit type, and this opens the edit assembly dialog box. Now I don't want to edit anything that's already existing in Revit. You don't want to overwrite that. I want to always duplicate. So I'm going to click duplicate, and now I can name it whatever I want. So I'm going to name this one shed wall with siding. Hit OK, and now it has my new name up there. So then I'm going to modify the layers of this to make it actually look like siding. So I want to click the edit button next to structure. So when I get this, a whole bunch of layers pop up. If I click on the preview button at the bottom, it'll actually show me what the layers look like. And if you notice, we have an exterior side up top and an interior side below. So obviously this is the exterior for our shed, this is the interior. So that's kind of how we want to build it up. Right now it's got a finish of brick, and it's 3 5/8 inches is what that is. So that's what we want to change. So instead of brick, we want to make that siding. So let's click on brick, and it has 3 little dots. They're kind of hard to see. Right next to that, when I click on that, and that's going to bring up the material browser. If you remember from Inventor, we had different materials we could set. Same with Revit. We have different materials we can set. So if you scroll down through there, it's quite a list. One way you can easily search for stuff is just simply type in the search box. So I'm going to type siding. When I do that, there's nothing found. There's no material that actually exists for siding. So that's fine. We can add siding. So down at the bottom, the circle with the plus says creates and duplicates materials. So we want to create a new material. We're going to actually create our siding. So it says default new material. That's fine, we'll change the name. So we're going to go over here and click on these tabs and modify. So the first thing we're going to do is change the new name. We're going to call it siding, and we're going to make this horizontal wood. Make a nice looking shed. And then same thing, you can also add a description. I'll just say horizontal wood siding. We'll leave class as generic. So that looks good. We're going to go to the graphics tab. Anytime you're creating anything new, always render it. That'll give it a much better appearance. We create rendered appearances to add to our drawings. That'll improve. Surface pattern, when I click on this, instead of none, let's pick the horizontal lines. Say OK, so they show up horizontal. And then same thing, cut. If we create a section through it, we want to see it's horizontal. So we're going to go with the regular horizontal. So that's our graphics. Now we want to go to appearance. Alright, so appearance is what we want to do is we want it to actually look like wood. So what we want to do is click on this little box down here. So let me do that again to show you. So I'm on the appearance tab. We don't want to do the new material. We're going to go to the right of that where it opens. It's called the asset browser. So we have all these appearance libraries that are already loaded onto our computer. We just have to get access to them. So we want to click the second one down that says appearance library. So if we do that, we have all kinds. You can see that there's numerous types of materials. And there's actually a siding category. So if we click on siding, it now populates the right, and we have all different types. So you can check what you like. Horizontal 4-inch gray, white, 6-inch. I'm going to scroll down because I know it has a nice horizontal cedar. So down here, if you need to, you can drag these over to read the names a little better. So if I click on that, I want to click on these little double arrows. So if I click on that, it will replace the current one. So it's hard to tell sometimes if you need to move it over and do that to make sure that it actually worked. We're going to close that. Now you can see it's making the look, instead of it being just a color, it's giving it this image that's actually going to make it look like actual cedar siding. So we have our identity, we've changed our graphics, and we've changed our appearance. So we're going to hit OK. Now if you want to use this for a later project, you'll actually have this saved in your materials. So again, it's changed the material, it's siding horizontal. We need to change the thickness though. We don't want to be 3 5/8. Typically siding is about a 1/2 inch. So we're going to change the siding thickness to 1/2 inch. Now, if you want to just use inches, simple way to do that, you type a 0 for the feet, hit space, and type 0.5 and hit enter, and that makes it a 1/2 inch. So that's how Revit's done. Your first number is your feet, your second number after the space then is the inches. It's a quick way than trying to type out 1/2. Alright, the next thing we want to do is we're going to get rid of this 3-inch air gap. When you have brick, you need an air gap for thermal layer. We don't need that when we have siding. So we're going to click on that row till it highlights and go down here and say delete. So we'll delete that out. We'll go ahead and leave the membrane in, which is pretty much no thickness because it's just a thin film layer. And then we have a substrate. Again, you can drag these over so you can see our substrate is good old plywood sheathing, which after we went through the discussion, that's how it would go. Underneath your siding, you're going to have plywood to attach it to. So again, you have this, and typically it's about a 1/2 inch. So same thing, highlight 0 space 0.5, and we have a 1/2 inch substrate. It depends on what your thickness. Sometimes you'll use a 3/4 inch as well. And then the rest is good for right now. We have a metal stud layer. We can change that to wood eventually. There's no wood, we'll have to add that as well. And then a membrane layer inside with our gypsum wallboard, with our drywall, which is a 1/2 inch. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and hit OK at this point. Hit OK again. And we now have horizontal siding. So we can go ahead and change all our walls to do that. Click on it. Most recently used is actually at the bottom, so it's kind of quick to find. And now we have a nice looking shed with horizontal siding if we add them to the rest. So that's creating a new material, which is very helpful as you move forward with the other projects in this class. Alright, so the last thing we want to do with our walls is we want to change them down to 8 feet instead of 10 feet that they were left at previously. So if we go here, we can change the roof level right in here. We can change that down, and that'll bring them down. Since the roof is connected and the walls are connected to the roof, that's an easy way to change the dimension. So there's our 8-foot walls. Looks good. Nice looking shed. Now we're going to add some windows. Alright, so we're going to add windows. We're going to do that under the Architecture tab again, and you see the window category. So if we click on that, I have a double hung. You may only have one of these. Might not be what you want though. So what we have the luxury to do is to load families. Now every time you load families, it does create larger file sizes, can take longer to open up, to render, that sort of thing. So just be aware. So we're going to load families, and we're going to choose Windows. So we're going to scroll down until we find the Windows folder. Open that, and here we have lots of different windows. So we'll pick one that seems like a good choice. I'm going to just do a double hung with trim. Right, so now I have that in here, and it shows all these different sizes are available. So I'm going to put this in on my floor plan. I think it'll be a little easier to see. Go back to Window. I'm going to click the smallest double hung. So I'm going to put 2 windows along the side. You can add more if you'd like. I'm going to escape out of there. And the same with the walls. If I click on this, it's got the double arrows. It puts the windowsill to the correct spot. So this is the exterior of the window. So we're all set. Let's check this one. This one was the other way, so again I'm going to click the arrows so it's good. Now we're going to add a door. So same idea, click on door, and it gives us the single flush option. So if you don't like that and you want to look at some other doors, you hit load family, click doors, and then you can kind of check out the other options. So I think I'm going to do this double acting one. What size do I want? So here's the width and here's the height. I'm just going to pick the first one. So that's my option, and then do I want it to swing in or swing out? I think for this one I'm going to have it swing out. So I'm going to click and it puts the cutout there for the door. If I decide I'd rather have swing in, I would just again click on it and then switch the double arrows. So you can switch what side the door hinges on and what side it rotates in and out. This one, it wouldn't matter what it hinges on since there's two. So then I want to dimension these. So I'm going to go to the Annotate tab to dimension. So Annotate, Aligned, and I'm going to pick the end of the wall, the center of the door, and the other end wall. Click on that. And we have this nice button that's called EQ, if you can see it in here. What that does, if you unclick the red slash, it'll make those dimensions that you did the chain with equal. So it puts the door right in the middle. If I want to be able to still see the numbers, I can check it back and it'll keep the numbers. Alright, move this 12 to the other side. You dimension every side when you're doing architectural drawings. A little bit different than Inventor. And then I want to do the windows. So same thing, Annotate, Aligned. I'm going to start at the end of the wall, center of the window, and end of the wall. And this I don't want to be equal. I think I'm going to click on the window and make this dimension 4 feet. Maybe this one 4 feet over here too. So click on this. Makes our distance 8 feet in the middle. So there we have all 4 sides dimensioned. The nice thing about this is that these are the dimensions that will show up when we get ready to do the drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and stop there.